Um, so we are live. Just give me a moment. Okay. So somehow I cannot see how many people are connected now. If any of you are there, please let me know if the video and audio is working properly. Okay. So welcome. Thank you very much for joining this session. Welcome to those of you also who will be watching this session later on when it will be uploaded on YouTube. So today will be a Q&A session, question and answer. Hare Krishna, Dimitri Prabhu. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Shri Prabhupada. Hare Krishna, Sami Prabhu. Hare Krishna, all of you there. So, okay. Thank you, Sami, for letting me know that it's working. All right. So you can put your questions in the live stream here. Otherwise, I've seen Dimitri Prabhu has asked some very nice questions, so maybe you will be able to start with these. I believe he's posted them on the YouTube page. I don't know if it's possible for you, Dimitri Prabhu, to copy paste here again, so that they appear in the thread here. So I believe you asked 3 questions, Dimitri Prabhu. You can copy paste them here like this. I can press also and show them on screen to others. Yes, put them again here. You know, because Dimitri Prabhu, we cannot see the comments on the YouTube at the moment. I can only see what's been put here during the live session, you know. So please copy paste them here. Okay, we shall begin with the Mangala Charana prayer. Om Jnanaatimirandasya Gyananjala Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Taismai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swam Rupaha Kadamahim Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guruho Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunantam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijanam Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shivishakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriya Vanchakalpatarubhischa Kripa Sindhubhyeva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo 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 Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Dev Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschachadishatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay. Thank you very much for joining. Okay, Dimitri Prabhu is saying that there's a limit of 200 character there, so it's not convenient for him to post. Let us see. All right, so it's a Q&A session, question and answer. We will begin right away with one of the questions posted by Dimitri Prabhu. So we shall start with the one that he has started with. He has shared now, so this is a small portion of it only. Yeah. Okay, so Srila Prabhupada says that if one chants 16 rounds and follows 4 regulative principles, he is considered his disciple. Does it mean that we don't need a guru and initiation? Okay. So your full comment I will be reading here. So you said that you recently read a post by IRM, ISKCON Revival Movement, where they say that there are 4 ways of initiation according to Srimad-Bhāgavatam 297, directly from the Lord, available only for Brahma, through pure devotees, through Bhagavad-gītā and Srimad-Bhāgavatam, through a bona fide spiritual teacher accessible to a sincere soul. So these are 1, 2, 3, 4. So I didn't get the time to go see their articles. Let me see if I can copy paste this here. So that, because you're putting the link there, right? But this is a long, okay, there's a few quotes. Okay. And then you're saying Srila Prabhupada says that if one chants 16 rounds and follow 4 regulative principles, he's considered his disciple. Does it mean? Yeah. So what is on screen now? Okay. So does it mean that if one follows everything and reads Srimad-Bhāgavatam, he doesn't need a guru and initiation? All right. I would like to maybe go see that article. There's a few quotes of Srila Prabhupada that can be shared. Let me see if I can open this here. Yeah. Okay. So I'll be sharing my screen. Okay, so I believe this is visible. So here I have opened the link which you've put in the question. So here, so this is 2010. Who is my disciple? Srila Prabhupada explains. All right. So we're just going to be reading the quotes. I'm not going to be reading what they write about it. So, yes, I am the spiritual master of this institution, and all the members of the society, they're supposed to be my disciples. They follow the rules and regulations, which I ask them to follow, and they are initiated by me spiritually. Okay, and then here, the devotees of IRM, they have put this title: one who follows Srila Prabhupada's discipline is Srila Prabhupada's disciple. So, Prabhupada, who is my disciple? First of all, let him follow strictly the disciplined rules. Devotee, as long as one is following, then he is Prabhupada, then he is all right. Okay, then we'll continue a bit. A disciple means one who is always following the orders of the spiritual master. So I instruct my disciples to refrain from 4 prohibitions, namely no eating of meat, fish or eggs, no illicit sex life, no taking of intoxication, including tea, coffee, cigarettes, etc., and no gambling. Besides that, my students must chant 16 rounds of Japamala of Hare Krishna mantra daily. So if you are able to follow these principles without fail, then you are as good as my disciple. Okay, so before we go further in those quotes, see here, because the IRM philosophy is that we just go on with reading Srila Prabhupada's books, chanting 16 rounds, following the 4 regulative principles, and that's it. We are Srila Prabhupada's disciples, and there's no need to accept the Ritvik system of initiation to take initiation from Srila Prabhupada. And actually, we should wait for the GBC to authorize that system to be included as a bona fide system. So here, Srila Prabhupada is saying, okay, always following the orders of the spiritual master. All right. Now, if when Srila Prabhupada was physically there, if someone would say, well, Srila Prabhupada, I only want to be chanting 16 rounds and following the 4 regulative principles, would that be all right? So Srila Prabhupada would surely not agree to this. he would say, no, you have to take also formal initiation. So here, let me just lower these things. Okay. One moment. Okay. Let's open it. Although doing these things, following the instructions of the spiritual master is the essence, there's no doubt. But there is also a commitment that the disciple must take. And that commitment is very important. It is not to be neglected. Let me see. Okay, so let's read this quote here. This is in Srimad-Bhāgavatam, class 61415 in Auckland, February 22nd, 1973. I'll make it bigger. All right, so Prabhupada says, formal initiation means to accept officially, to abide by the orders of Krishna and his representative. That is formal initiation. Officially accept. So Srila Prabhupada is speaking about the fire yagya, the whole ceremony of initiation. He's calling this formality. Yes, sir, I shall accept. I shall do whatever you say. This is initiation. Let me just see if everything is going nicely here. Okay. Official acceptance of the job. That's all. Now you formally accept. And if you do not do the duties, then where's the question of other function? There's no question. Initiation means this is the beginning of accepting the orders of Krishna and his representative to carry out. This is the beginning. That is initiation. Just like if you enter in an office establishment, so you accept the terms of service, that is initiation. Then you go on serving. You become promoted. You get salary increase. You become recognized. You become officer. You become big officer, like that. That very word initiation suggests this is the beginning. Diksha. Divya. There are two words. Divya Jnana. Divya Jnana means transcendental, spiritual knowledge. So Divya is Di and Jnanam Kshapayati. Explaining that is Ksha. Diksha. This is called Diksha. Diksha, the combination. So Diksha means the initiation to begin transcendental activities. That is called initiation. Therefore, we take promise from the disciple. You chant so many rounds. Yes, sir. You observe these rules and regulations. Yes, sir. That is initiation. He has to observe. He has to chant. Then everything comes automatically. In the beginning, he's faulty. And how he can make progress. There's no question of. Okay. All right. So you see, there are two. This is formal initiation. And again, there is the fundamental principle of initiation, the very substance of it, right? So I believe in the last session that we gave, so we have quoted that. This is from the Hari Bhakti Vilas. So Diksha is the process by which one can awaken his transcendental knowledge and vanquish all reactions caused by sinful activity. A person expert in the study of the revealed scriptures knows this process as Diksha. So I gave this example in the last session, and I said that many of you are not formally initiated by Srila Prabhupada, yet the transfer of transcendental knowledge is occurring, and you are experiencing a change, because that is the real meaning. A pure devotee can transform a person into a brahmana, because the real initiation is the second initiation, when one is officially recognized as a brahmana through the transfer of transcendental knowledge, which is like the fire that burns the wood, which can be compared to the ignorance covering the living entity. It burns, and then the living entity becomes purified and shines as a brahmana. He, from the mode of ignorance, he rises all the way to the mode of goodness, and he becomes a bona fide brahmana, and he develops the qualities that are described in the Bhagavad-gītā. So truthfulness, self-controlled, he studied the Vedas, he performs austerity in this way. So all these qualities become manifest. So initiation means this. So Srila Prabhupada is the one giving the process by which one can become a brahmana at the present moment. He's giving us, 16 rounds, this number he gave, the 4 regulative principles, and so on. So his process, he's transforming people to become brahmanas. So it is through his mercy. So you who are not formally initiated, you're still advancing spiritually. But that does not mean that we should completely kick out the formal initiation. Why? Well, because Srila Prabhupada has given a system that we can still be formally initiated by him. So as we have seen in the previous quotes, that a disciple means one who is following the instructions of the spiritual master. Therefore, if Srila Prabhupada gives us a system that we have to follow, then how can we just kick that away? So that is one of the difference with that we have with IRM. Of course, IRM, they're exposing a lot of the deviations happening in the movement, and they're trying to bring people back to Prabhupada. So we don't want to be finding fault in them. But this is a little thing that we are not in agreement. Is that why wait for the GBC to agree to establish this Ritvik system, and why not try to establish the Ritvik system when Prabhupada gave it to us? Why just say, no, you just carry on chanting and doing the 4 regulative principles? We should actually try to accept the system and establish it, because Prabhupada wanted it to be carried out by those first 11 Ritviks that he appointed, the officiating acharyas, and none of them followed. So we should not throw away the baby with the bathwater, said, well, none of them followed, therefore what to do now? We cannot continue. Well, if they did not do the job, then we should do the job. We should pick up from where they left, right? Now, I want to be showing something, which is... yes. So that's it. So here, this is a class, Srimad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 1, Text 1 in Melbourne, May 21st, 1975. So the devotee is asking, Srila Prabhupada, does a disciple first accept his spiritual master within the heart when he takes initiation? Madhudvisha, what is the question again? When a disciple takes initiation, does he first take initiation within the heart? Srila Prabhupada, initiation is the 3rd stage. First stage, okay. Okay, we can read. Just like you have come, this is called Shraddha, faith, little faith, not full faith. Then you have to increase this faith by association of devotee. That is required. And when the faith is increased, then the question of initiation. Initiation should not be immediately offered. So you see, here, initiation should not be immediately offered. So there's also an acceptance of the disciple. You see, if I just say, oh, I become Srila Prabhupada's disciple, how can he refuse me? Right? Before, when Srila Prabhupada was physically here, he could refuse. He could say, no, this man is not qualified to be a disciple. So that is there, because according to Shastra, a disciple has to analyze the spiritual master for 1 year, and the spiritual master has to analyze the disciple for 1 year. So that is important. So Srila Prabhupada could refuse a disciple, but if I say there's no system by which I can be accepted or rejected, then I just say I'm Prabhupada disciple, and he will say I'm Prabhupada disciple, and then that person will say I'm Prabhupada disciple, and maybe that person is still smoking ganja and drinking, and yes, he will advertise himself as Srila Prabhupada disciple. So there has to be a system also to prevent such things from happening, because Srila Prabhupada would not initiate someone who's not qualified. Of course, he has done so actually on many occasions. He accepted disciples that were not fit to become disciples, but he writes about that in some purports. Sometimes the Acharya does that because he wants to propagate the movement so much that he initiates people who are not even qualified. But still, Prabhupada had the saying that, yes, I accept you. No, I don't accept you. So where's that saying goes if there's no system that you have to come through? So with the Ritvik system, the Ritvik representative is the one who says yes or no. So when Srila Prabhupada gave the July 9th letter, the order of the 11 original officiating acharyas, they had this power of attorney of saying, I accept you on behalf of Prabhupada or I reject you. So that is an important thing. Let's continue now. That will be misused. Yes. Therefore, when we initiate, we inquire from the head of the temple how long he's coming, what is his behavior. If he certifies that, yes, he's doing nice, then we initiate. Our initiation is not so cheap. You come and be initiated. No, we do not do that. We must test you first of all, then we initiate. Then Madhudvisha. His question was that, can you take initiation by accepting the spiritual master in your heart without actually taking? Srila Prabhupada cuts him and says, these are bogus proposition. It has no meaning. It has no meaning. If you think within yourself, I'm eating, will you be satisfied? You starve and simply think, I have eaten everything. Is that very practical proposal? You must eat. We don't say all these bogus propositions. All right, thank you very much. So you see, if you actually surrender to Prabhupada, if you really accept Srila Prabhupada as your spiritual master, then where is the question of not taking formal initiation? This is a commitment. This is a proof of surrender that you're doing to Srila Prabhupada. It's just like, I want to get married to this wife, but we're not going to have the fire sacrifice. Then wait a minute, how can the woman trust you? This man wants to keep his independence. He doesn't want people in his village to know that he's getting married with me, or what? What is this? Then nobody will know. He can go away very easily. Because if I say, yes, I'm Prabhupada disciple, and one day, I decide, I want to drink again, and I drink, then I can say, well, I didn't take initiation anyway, right? So it becomes very cheap. It's not something tangible, in the sense that, of course, some of you are kind of waiting to take initiation. So it's not that those who are sincere and want to take initiation are bogus. It's not like that. But someone who says that, I don't need to take formal initiation, it's kind of a way to not surrender to Prabhupada, actually. Because the formal initiation, the fire sacrifice, it is very, very potent. It is a spiritual contract signed between Srila Prabhupada and the disciple. Because Prabhupada, from the moment he accepts you formally, he must take you back to Krishna. That is his duty. He has accepted you as disciple. A spiritual master must take back the disciple to the spiritual world. And you, on your end of the contract, you are signing that, yes, now I chant 16 rounds, 4 regulative principles. So if you break later on, it is a much graver offense. So it makes it very, solid, the whole thing. And not only this, you're making your commitment in front of the deities, in front of Krishna, in front of the spiritual master, in front of the devotees, in front of the sacred fire. You receive your spiritual name. This is a very important fact. How are you going to get a spiritual name if you just read Prabhupada books and chant 16 rounds? How are you going to get that? So you will be called like Tony your whole life. I'm Tony, Srila Prabhupada's disciple. You see, you're making the whole thing cheap when you continue like this, or you give yourself a name. That is all, everything is not sharp. The understanding is all vague. Spiritual life is not like that. Spiritual life should be razor sharp. Everything should be clear cut, And giving a name is very important. I believe we have, some quotes on that. Let me see. Names. I had saved this. If you know where, His Grace Nagopal Prabhu once he shared that. We have a lot of quotes that we can go through concerning initiation. But what I want to see is the change of the name, His name, the Krishna initiation book change, chanting. Okay, if one of you knows, no, that's not it. If one of you knows where are these verses concerning the change of name when one gets initiated, you can please put it in the comment section. Okay. So there's something quoted by Dimitri Prabhu 22.115. We can go see this. Yes. So this is you see. So on the path of regulative devotional service, one must observe the following items. One must accept a bona fide spiritual master, accept initiation from him. So those two items are separated. Why? If there's the same thing, then they should be together. But yes, they are separated. So one must accept Srila Prabhupada as a spiritual master. That is the formal, that is the I mean, to say the acceptance that he's my guru, I surrender unto him, but then accept initiation from him. That is the formal initiation. So that has to come also. Okay, serve him, receive instructions from the spiritual master, and make inquiries in order to learn devotional service. Follow in the footsteps of the previous acharyas and follow the directions given by the spiritual master. So, these items can be expanded upon, but there's also Shiksha Guru that is involved, because making inquiries, make inquiries. So we must ask. So Srila Prabhupada is not physically here, so how to ask him? I'm not saying it's impossible to ask him. It's possible. If one is very, very sincere and he asks Srila Prabhupada some questions, he can get some reply. There's so many devotees who say how Prabhupada instructed them through dreams or through his books directly or through some other devotees. I mean, it all depends on one's surrender. But the Shiksha Guru is there, physically present, and he's there to answer the questions as a via medium, transparent via medium, in accordance with Srila Prabhupada's instructions. Okay, so Dimitri 1208 concerning name, yeah. Yes, so this is the initiation of Srila Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami. So, my dear Sakara Malika, from this day your names will be changed to Srila Rupa and Srila Sanatana. Now please abandon your humility, for my heart is breaking to see you so humble. Yeah. So then Prabhupada says, actually this is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's initiation of Dabira Khasam and Sakara Malika. They approached the Lord with all humility, and the Lord accepted them as old servants, as eternal servants. And he changed their names. It is to be understood from this that it is essential for a disciple to change his name after initiation. So if you simply say, I follow 4 regulative principle, I chant 16 rounds, how are you going to change your name? Right? After initiation, the disciple's name must be changed to indicate that he is a servant of Lord Vishnu. The disciple should also immediately begin marking his body with tilak, urdhva pundra, especially his forehead. These are spiritual marks, symptoms of a perfect Vaishnava. This is a verse from the Padma Purana, Uttarakanda. A member of the Sahajya Sampradaya does not change his name. Therefore, he cannot be accepted as a Gaudiya Vaishnava. You see how important? Because he doesn't change his name, those Sahajas, they cannot be accepted as a Gaudiya Vaishnava. If a person does not change his name after initiation, it is to be understood that he will continue in his bodily conception of life. So how important it is. Even names, Srila Prabhupada had Abhay Charan. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur added Naravinda, right? Abhay Charan Naravinda. So even if one has got a spiritual name, he needs to change it a little. There needs to be something added. So my birth name is Nitai. So His Grace Gopal Prabhu gave Nimai in front. So Nimai Nitai. So there's a change happening, So it's important to not keep within our bodily concept of life. So a name change will help with this. It's a new birth, right? It's supposed to feel like a new birth, and it's a new life starting. There are many devotees I see in Facebook. They keep their karmi names, on Facebook. So that is not very good, because already it's so hard to be freed from false ego. And if you keep your old name, which is associated with how much nonsense we've done, how many karmis, materialistic people have been calling us this name, all these memories are hooked to that name. So for this reason and many others, it's important to have the formal initiation system. Okay, now, so that is it for, okay, we can go back maybe to that article, see what are the other quotes. So that is dharma, discipline. To abide by the state laws, there must be some discipline. Similarly, to make yourself advance in spiritual life, you must have to observe the discipline. Without discipline, it is not possible. Adal Guru Ashrayam. Therefore, Rupa Goswami says in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu that discipline means one who observes discipline, he is called disciple. Everyone knows it. Disciple means one who observes discipline. If one does not observe discipline, then he's not a disciple. And one who is not a disciple, his life is chaotic. He cannot be happy. Therefore, Vedas says that you must accept a bona fide guru and become disciplined under his instruction. Yes, but here only one aspect is stressed. Only the essence of initiation, that is to follow the discipline. Because it's a fact that even you take formal initiation from Prabhupada and you do not follow the instructions, then what is the use? And we have seen how many of his original disciples have deviated. So what is the use of taking formal initiation and not following the discipline? So that is the actual substance. But the formal initiation should not be also rejected, especially when Prabhupada has given a system that it can be carried out. I don't say, okay, let's say if you, before Srila Prabhupada manifested his pastimes as an acharya and you start to read Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati's books, and you have no other choice, then in this case, it's a bit different because Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati has not given a Ritvik system that can be carried out, So now we are trying, and the Ritvik system is working. The devotees who have started to act as a officiating acharya, they started to do it. They were not in complete, faith that it would work. They started, and yes, it works even after Srila Prabhupada's departure. Okay, let's carry out with that. They saw. If you see ISKCON Bangalore, they have so many brahmacharis. It's working. Us in ISKM, So it's not also palena parichiyate. We have to see by the result too. So it's a clear fact that if you have the choice, why reject? So from so far what I've seen is that those who don't want to take formal initiation, they just don't want to be working under some authority. That's all. Because they know that, okay, if I have to take initiation, then I need to go to one of those senior devotees that are acting as officiating acharya right now, as Ritvik representative. If I go to them, well, I need to surrender to them in some sense that I have to follow their guidance. I don't want that. Therefore, okay, I'm a Prabhupada disciple. I just chant 16 rounds. And so it's an evasive philosophy. Yeah, so those are all, Okay, yes, this is a misleading quote, quoting a reporter. To try to understand Siddhanta, we should not quote a conversation that Srila Prabhupada has with some reporter, because the way that Srila Prabhupada would preach with someone new and the way that he would preach to someone who is his disciple is very different. Prabhupada will always be very lenient when he answered questions. Just like, that famous interview where the news anchor, he's kind of bald in the middle. He's got this, hair on the side, and Prabhupada is next to him, and he's saying, "Oh, Srila Prabhupada, I understand that you take the essence from, the Bible, the Quran, and this." And Prabhupada said, "Yeah, everywhere, So in this way, he's speaking, he's speaking because he knows that this is going to be broadcast. And if he starts to say that no, Srimad-Bhāgavatam, in the, the first few verses, it says, kicking out all bogus religious system, and that religion is the best, which you can develop your love of God. So we see that the Krishna Consciousness movement is the best, and other religions, they just go to church and pray, give me your daily bread, and so on. If you would have spoken like that, what would have happened? So to understand Siddhanta, we don't quote Srila Prabhupada discussing with the public. That is not proper. It's not deep enough, Prabhupada many times also he said, yes, Muslims, what they do is bhakti. They bow down to the Lord and so on. Yeah, so there's some, essence. But if you study Srila Prabhupada books, you can understand that these are all cheating religion because they don't know who God is. If you don't know who God is, how you can know what his orders are? So you see, so we cannot just read this, but nevertheless, we can read it here just to see. So the reporter, but suppose I were to become an initiate, wouldn't I have to come and live in the temple? Prabhupada, not necessarily. I can stay at home. Oh, yes. What about work? Would I have to give up my job? No. You'd simply have to give up your bad habits and chant the Hare Krishna mantra and these beads. That's all. Would I have to give any financial support? No. That is your voluntarily wish. If you give, that's all right. And if you don't, we don't mind. We do not depend on anyone's financial contribution. We depend on Krishna. He said, if you don't, we don't mind. So should I also use this to say that, I don't need to give donation to the temple? No, for a surrendered devotee, Prabhupada said standard is 50%. So you see, and then, you just need to stay at home, give up your bad habit. So if I just take this quote that, all right, I just stay at home and I do, it's a plea, I find a plea that I can escape from taking initiation, that's all. Then here, Srila Prabhupada's physical presence, not necessary to initiate disciples. So it is becoming very expensive to send so many sets of beads such a long distance, and it has become little bothersome for me also. So I think now you may be appointed by me to give first initiations to new disciples by chanting on their beads on my behalf. In America, Kirtanananda Swami is doing that. So now if there are two of you, that will give me great relief. Kirtanananda will chant on the beads for new devotees in America, Canada, like that. You can chant on the beads for the European continent, new disciples. They shall, of course, still be considered as my disciples, not that they shall become your disciples, but you will be empowered by me to chant their beads, and that is the same effect of binding master and disciple as if I were personally chanting. So this is when Srila Prabhupada started to empower his disciples to initiate on his behalf. So you can see that all this was building up, and then it was really concretized on July 9th, when he gave absolutely everything to those 11 senior disciples and the temple president. He had nothing to do, the name giving, the chanting on the beads, and so on. But you see, the formality is still kept there, though. It's not to say, now they're quoting this to say Srila Prabhupada doesn't have to be physically here. That's a fact. It's being carried out by the Ridvik representatives. But the formality of accepting Srila Prabhupada is important. It has to stay. We cannot simply say, get rid of this. So, okay. So I hope this is, maybe it covers. Okay. Okay, let us see back here if I'm looking in the comment section now. You had other questions also. Let me see if somebody else had asked a question here. Okay, maybe we can go to this question. So I have a question that which philosophy is submitted by Bhagavad-gītā, Dvaita or Advaita? So simultaneously one with and different from. So it is Dvaita in the sense that the Lord, we are all part and parcel of the Lord. So in this sense, we are the same as him in quality, but not in quantity. So Srila Prabhupada always says that just like if you take a drop of the seawater, it has all the same quality as the ocean. The amount, the percentage of salt and of all different chemicals in a drop of seawater would be the exact same percentage and everything as the huge ocean. So in this way, we are the same. So we are Advaita. We're the same, non-dual, with Krishna, but in quantity we're different. Okay, and the duality is that we are eternal living entities that are eternally servants of Krishna, but Krishna is the eternal enjoyer. So Nitya Nityanam Chaitanas Chaitananam Eko Bahunam Yo Vividadati Kaman. So the one eternal takes service from the plural eternals. You see, so definitely there's only one God. We do not accept the philosophy of Advaita that Sankaracharya line is promoting, that everybody is God. If I'm God, why I'm conditioned now? Why people have cancer? Why people have AIDS? Why is there murder, rape, wars? We are clearly under some laws that are forcing us to undergo all this misery. Who says misery says punishment? Who says punishment says punisher and punished? So there's duality there. There's someone who's punishing and someone who's being punished. So we are being punished because we have revolted against the eternal order, which is we are servants. And this eternal dharma, this eternal quality of the living entity, can never be changed. Now we're in the material world and we're serving our family members, isn't it? What is this phone? It's a leash. It's a service device. As soon as someone calls you, what does he want? He wants some service for you. Hey, what are you doing? Yeah, can you do this for me? Oh, when are you coming back home? Oh, did you pick up this? Did you buy that? You go back home, the wife is saying, oh, can you do this? Can you take care of the child? The child is crying, I want this toy, I want it. You're always serving. The parents are saying, oh, I'm getting old, my back hurts, can you go do this? So we're always serving someone. We can never be freed from that. So the philosophy is that we should serve Krishna and then we'll be happy, but material service isn't. So we cannot be God. This is, of course, Sankaracharya. This is a whole other topic. Sankaracharya, we know from the Puranas that he's an incarnation of Lord Shiva, and he came to drive away Buddhism. At that time, when he appeared, Buddhism was very prevalent in India, and Sankaracharya pushed away Buddhism because Buddhism doesn't accept the Vedas. But at least the Advaita Tattva of Sankaracharya uses the Upanishads, especially. So he brought back the authority of the Vedas, but he manipulated their meaning. Even in Krishna and Bhagavad-gītā, Krishna says to Arjuna, both you and I have taken many births. I can remember all of them, but you cannot. So why is Krishna capable of remembering all his births and Arjuna cannot? So can I remember my birth? Certainly not. Can you? No. So therefore, you are of the Arjuna category. You are of the Jiva Tattva, the living entity. You are not the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord remembers all his birth because his body is spiritual. Janma karma chamet divyam, he says. So my janma, my karma is divyam. Our janma and our karma are not divyam. We're forced under the three modes to accept the body that we have now. Krishna is not forced like that. He comes in his original transcendental form. Okay, so Bhagavad-gītā is all about bhakti. Who says bhakti? Says the served and the served. The servant has to serve. So this is the eternal activities. So the Advaita Tattva Sankaracharya just says, no, aham tamaham brahmasmi. I am Brahman. So that is just the beginning of spiritual life. It's just to understand that you're not the body. There is after that a study of spiritual variegatedness. A study of spiritual activities. What is that? So if you have not read Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad-gītā, please order it. They have all the languages here on this website. I'm going to be pasting here. Okay. So you go on this website, harekrishnabooks.com, and you order Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad-gītā. Everything will be answered very clearly. I did not want to dive too much into this topic now. So okay, Nilkanta Prabhu is saying, many sincere devotees, disciples of current Guru in ISKCON have preached, distributed books, and connected more than 1,000 to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Krishna Prabhupada will not take them back. Okay, yes, so we're not here to criticize ISKCON. Actually, we don't like to be criticizing ISKCON. Because it is Srila Prabhupada's organizations. We are not saying that they are bad, we are good. This is the mood of a neophyte. Our intention is not like that. We are not here to say, just like you're saying, many disciples are, and I'm happy. Even when I see a devotee in ISKCON that is distributing so many of Srila Prabhupada's books, I'm happy. Because I'm seeing that so many books of Srila Prabhupada are being distributed. So there's no doubt that this is good, But the problem is that there's some deviation taking place, and these deviations will just keep being more and more prominent, and the effect of such deviations will just keep on manifesting more and more and more. You see, so the biggest deviation is to have lowered down the standard of what a guru is. The current system in ISKCON is that the GBC will elect gurus out of a 2/3 vote system. So this is absolutely nowhere to be found in any of Srila Prabhupada's books, any of his letters, any of his teachings. It's nowhere to be found in the Vedas. It's nowhere to be found in our Parampara system from Brahma all the way here. Guru is always self-manifested. He's always authorized by his predecessor Guru. And he has always been if you see all our parampara from Brahma all the way to here, there have always been Mahabhagavata. This has been shown in the, there is a song written by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. I believe it is called Parampara or Guru Parampara. Let me try to see this. And he writes it clearly. Yes. Okay, I'm going to share now. So here it is. So this is Guru Parampara by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So he names, this is where Srila Prabhupada has taken all the names to put in his introduction of the Bhagavad-gītā. In the beginning, the creation, Brahma, Narada, and so on. So all the names are here. You see Madhacharya, okay, Jayatirtha. All the great acharyas are here. And then you see, these treat, I don't know what is treat here. Anyway, these truly maybe, I don't know. These treat saintly Vaishnavas are all Paramahamsas. Paramahamsas means Uttamadikari, means the highest position of a devotee, right? There's Kanishtadikari, Madhyamadikari, Uttamadikari. So all the great acharyas and gurus have always been Paramahamsa. There's no nowhere that it says that a Kanishtadikari can be guru or Madhyamadikari. Okay. So, but what is that? But here, okay, let's see. From this many times, I want to show you one of the resolution that ISKCON has done. It's not here. This is not shown here. Okay, this is not. Sorry. Okay, anyway, here you can see also. Okay, this you can read. I've quoted many times this here. So, Rajan Babu is asking Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, isn't the Kanishtadikari qualified to give initiation into the mantra? Srila Saraswati Prabhupada, where is the Kanishtadikari coming from? Who gave him the adhikar? A Kanishtadikari can never become guru. Rajan Babu, can a Madhyamadikari give diksha? Saraswati Prabhupada, he can only perform the initial duties of diksha. It is the Uttamadikari Mahabhagavata Vaishnava who is actually the diksha guru. So you see, Uttamadikari Mahabhagavata who's actually a diksha guru. So why in ISKCON they're saying now Kanishtadikari or even, Madhyamadikari, even Kanishtadikari can be guru? It is not good. So, and the GBC has passed a resolution that says that they are not, it is resolution 204, 1982 maybe. Anyway, it said that the GBC does not endorse any of the guru to be on a specific spiritual standard. And it is the entirely responsibility of the disciple themselves to choose. And if the guru falls down, it is your choice. It is your fault, So what do you do? That's the problem. So the things that they're doing good, like book distribution and all, we're not speaking against that. That is very nice. But Krishna does not take back a devotee back home who is not 100% surrendered. Going back to the spiritual world is not that easy. Okay, here. So this is it. You see here, gbciscon.org 2004 resolution 409. So it is said, as a matter of utmost ecclesiastical responsibility, ISKCON's ultimate managing authority, the GBC regulates who within ISKCON may perform the service of initiating disciples. Why? Where does this come from? They're telling you the GBC regulates, but how come? This is nowhere to be found in Prabhupada's instructions. So, when the GBC allows a devotee to take up the service of initiating, it does not thereby endorse him as an Uttamadikari or pure devotee, or certify his having achieved any specific state of realization. He can be not realized at all. He can have zero realization. Rather, the GBC indicates that it has no objection to his initiating disciples within ISKCON. Well, the GBC should have objections, because Prabhupada clearly says that only an Uttamadikari should be a pure devotee. So this is the problem, Prabhu. Yes, they are throwing, they're distributing books and all, but then they are making the whole thing a mess by this deviation. So unless, how do we go back to Krishna? How do we go back to Prabhupada? By fully surrendering unto him, following his instructions. So there are many good things in ISKCON. There's so many good things happening. But the poison is there. What is the poison? The, selfish motive, personal ambition. They want to be worshipped as Mahabhagavatam, right? And they say it themselves now. Most of them say it, yes, I'm not Mahabhagavata, but, I'm bringing you to Prabhupada. I'm acting as a preacher and so on. So they accept that they're not Mahabhagavatas, but their disciples are not accepting that. They still use prayers meant for Uttamadikari Mahabhagavata for them. Om Vishnupad, Paramahamsa, Parivekachacharya, Ashtotara Shishimad, such and such, So these prayers should not be spoken to persons who are not completely beyond the three modes of material nature, who are not completely pure devotees. These prayers are meant for eternal associates of the Lord. So there is some, it is lies. They're living a lie. So that is not proper. So we're not finding fault in the devotees in ISKCON because we are better and so on. No, we are finding faults because it is not in accordance with Prabhupada's instructions. There are some deviations. So we hope that such things can be rectified. You see, we are preaching under ISKM, the International Shri Krishna Mandir. I would prefer preach under the name ISKCON because this is the name that Prabhupada has given. In each and every books, you see founder Acharya of International Society for Krishna Consciousness. I would much prefer preach under that name. But what to do? I cannot remain there if they're not following Prabhupada. So, Prabhupada is there where his sincere followers are. I want to be in the association of sincere followers, even though we're little. But those who are not so much serious, they won't like that. Just a few devotees here, a few devotees there. So what? I cannot go to all the temples? What? People will not recognize me as a disciple of Prabhupada originally, in the beginning. I won't have the thousands of devotees listen to my lectures and all. You have to sacrifice a lot, to say that, no, I won't be supporting the mainstream movement that has been hijacked. I will go on my own. It takes a lot of guts because so many devotees. My father, he joined in the early 80s. My mother also. And my father was initiated by Gopal Krishna Swami. And later on, he learned about the Rivik system. He started to understand what a spiritual master actually was. He had to be a liberated soul and so on. So he had to reject him. And my father had so many friends in ISKCON. He loved the beautiful deities at the temple. He had done decades of service in the temple there. So it was a really big hit for him to leave. But he decided that I cannot remain in a society that the leaders are deviating. If some devotees down the line deviate, but the leaders are strong, then there's no need to leave the society. You just try to correct those people. But when the leaders themselves are deviating on the philosophy, just like I've read to you this statement of the GBC, then the GBC is the one managing ISKCON. So who are you going to be complaining about when the GBC deviates? There's nobody above them, right? So that's why better do our own work sideline, but let it be pure, so that at least there's a standard shown how Prabhupada wanted things to be going on, and devotees who are sincere, they'll come to us. And in this way, we grow. I prefer to have one sincere devotee association than a million insincere devotees. Those who stay neophytes and who don't have faith in Shastra, that's an important thing. not having faith in Prabhupada is rampant in ISKCON. Not having faith in his books is very, very prominent. You quote Prabhupada books and they take it very lightly. This is something that we don't teach in ISKM. When you quote from Shastra, from Prabhupada books, you accept it or you leave. That's all. So that mood is not there. I don't feel it in ISKCON. Just today, you're speaking about ISKCON devotee. I saw there was a short, like 8-minute lecture, a piece of lecture from one devotee from ISKCON. Forgot his name. So I watched a little bit, and he was speaking of some story or something. Anyway, so then I decided to watch a second one to hear from him a little bit more. And the way he spoke was very, very cheap, very sahaja-like. He was saying, Krishna, he knows that people in the material world, they like to have these loving affairs, So then Krishna showed his loving affairs. So that's a fact, Prabhupada also said like that. But then the way he was saying, oh, and he's the best. How many girlfriends you have? Krishna's got millions. And then he's saying, oh, just by playing the flute, all the girls got the SMS, And then he was starting to speak, do some jokes like, oh, I didn't get my message. And so he was speaking about the Lord Rasa dance in a very comical way, very funny, So that we have to be very careful. This is not the way that Prabhupada taught us. Prabhupada was very rarely speaking about the Rasa Leela of Krishna. And when he was speaking about it, it was very short, very little things, So he kept on going like that. So I stopped, So this kind of way of giving classes is rampant. It is there, giving jokes. And so anyway, it's not that we cannot joke. Prabhupada also was joking, but the matter should be very serious, especially when we come to the pastimes of the Lord. So this I'm seeing again and again and again and again, and people don't get it, that this is just going to be increasing. Now you're just one generation down the line that are acting as gurus. But, soon, in 10, 20, 30 years, is going to be disciples of Prabhupada that are going to be gurus in ISKCON. And after that is going to be disciples of disciples of disciples of Srila Prabhupada that are going to be gurus. And after that is going to be disciple of disciple of disciple of disciple. So it's going to be degrading more and more and more and more and more. More things are going to be happening that, we wish never happened. Just like this Bhakti Vidya Purna so-called Maharaj, abusing the children, having sexual affairs with ladies, dressed as a sannyasi. The GBC was aware of that for decades. It's not that only now it happened. No, it's just that now somehow or other they decided to get rid of him. So the GBC knows these things, and they're keeping these people in the dress of sannyasis and using them. There's so much money. I mean, if you want to go down, speak about the bad side of ISKCON, you're opening a can of worms. And I don't like to speak about the bad side. I prefer focusing on the philosophy. But I can tell you that I know one devotee for certain who was hired to find out where $6 million or $9 million was stolen. And I believe it was in Mayapur or Vrindavan. I'm sorry, but I know it's one of those two places. $9 million was away, just disappeared. So he was on that team with Ambarish Prabhu, so it could be Mayapur. Anyway, Ambarish Prabhu that Ford, right? So he was on a team of devotees that was meant to investigate where that $9 million disappeared. And I have seen pictures of this. And he was getting closer and closer and closer. And I've seen pictures on how he was beaten almost to death. He was in the hospital. He had, broken arm and so I've seen how they beat him. So who beat him? People wearing tilak, having kantimala and all of that. They beat him to death almost. Tried to kill him so that he cannot find where the 9 million disappeared. So there's this happening in ISKCON. There's, drug dealings. There's prostitution. If you start to dig dark, to see the dark path, I listened to a video not so long ago. In the 80s, there was one temple in America. The policemen just had to park themselves in front of the temple and wait to make an arrest. There was so much drug trafficking happening from the temple that they would just, bust up someone coming after the temple and they would find out, drugs is there. And I believe that was happening under Hamsadutta, that time Maharaj, who had, machine guns and all. They arrested Hamsadutta with, machine guns. His whole arsenals was like 20, 30 guns and rifles. And he was so-called Acharya and such and such. So you see, so no, if they stay in a corrupted system like that, Krishna and Srila Prabhupada will not take them back to Godhead in this life, at least. That's for sure. They have to become completely cleansed. To go back to Krishna is not such a cheap thing. You have to be Acharya Sampradaya, fully surrendered to the Acharya. So we are not here to promote 70% of the process. We're not here to promote 80% and have our little 20% to concoct. We're here to present Srila Prabhupada's teachings and process 100%. That's all. So yes, book distribution is very nice in ISKCON, and I'm happy that they're doing this because I feel there's hope, if so many people get books. But then where do they lead those people after that? Well, here's my Guru Maharaj, he's a pure devotee, please take initiation from him. But who knows, Guru Maharaj might have fallen with a woman already and you don't even know about it. There are more and more cases happening like that. So why? Because GPC has made this bogus system that Guru is elected. That's all. Guru is supposed to be self-manifested. But now with the Ritvik system of initiation, everything is protected. We don't have to see these fall downs, and everybody in the organization is a disciple of Prabhupada. We work under a physical Shiksha Guru. The whole thing is so solidified. You see? Okay, let's see. Let's continue. Here. Hare Krishna Prabhu, I chant 16 rounds, but still mind possess lot of sense enjoyment desires, which is very hard to resist, and I go for the pleasure. Please help me with this. Yeah, so this is why this is actually natural, this is the Anartha Nivritti stage. But one thing, we're speaking of initiation now, so it's important to formally surrender also, to formally take initiation. So that is very important, and you need sadhu sangha, you see, because Nishta is the platform where most of this sense gratification agitation is gone, and one is fixed. He's fixed in his sadhana bhakti. So before Nishta is Anartha Nivritti. That is the stage where we become purified. Okay, but before that stage is Bhajana Kriya, which means formally taking initiation and regulatedly performing devotional service under the guidance of the spiritual master. So unless that comes, you cannot actually achieve to Nishta. There has to be a formal surrender, that one is really accepting, okay, now I'm surrendering to Srila Prabhupada, I'm receiving my name, and all of this has to be there, and one has to be in the association of devotees in order to be completely purified. So physical association is very strong. If you live in a temple, that will definitely help you. So I do not know where you live, but I don't know how old you are. If you're young and you're not married, then you should definitely go and live in a temple. I believe you're from India. We have some temples in India that you could join, and that would be really what would help you the most. When I didn't live for so long in the ashram, but when I live in the ashram, I could really feel the potency of devotee association. Without devotee association, you just cannot make it. It's so important, without sadhu sangha. So I'm sharing now. This is Dhruva 4.9.11 Bhagavatam. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada said, okay, let me just go open it here. The significant point in Dhruva Maharaj's statement is that he wanted the association of pure devotees. Transcendental devotional service cannot be complete and cannot be relishable without the association of devotees. We have therefore established the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Anyone who is trying to be aloof from this Krishna Consciousness Society and yet engaged in Krishna Consciousness is living in a great hallucination, for this is not possible, you see. So you cannot be aloof from devotee association and just 10, 16 rounds on your own. At one point, you'll fall down. You have to be with the devotees. From this statement by Dhruva Maharaj, it is clear that unless one is associated with devotees, his devotional service does not mature. Here's a very important statement. It does not become distinct from material activities. So one will not be able to separate properly his devotional service and his material activities. It will all be mixed up. And there's a verse in the Bhagavad-gītā that says also that one who is advanced, that are transcendental, and actions that are meant for sense gratification. Now I'm paraphrasing here, but as the meaning of the Lord. So one knows the distinction that this is devotional service, this is material activity. But the neophyte devotee who stays alone, he cannot make such distinction. He doesn't know exactly what is devotional service and what is sense gratification. He has problem. So unless we are very serious and we take this as our life and soul, we will not be able to get freed from lust. You see, just like Bhaktivedanta Purna Maharaj, he's a sannyas, and he was not freed from lust. So it's not easy to become freed from lust. But it is possible if we are under the protection of the association of devotees. And if we, take their guidance and hear and chant everything, you have to adopt the whole process, not that just 16 rounds. That's not enough. You need to have Mangal Arti. You need to have the Bhagavatam class in the morning. You need to, you need to hear, always read Prabhupada books. You should start reading Prabhupada books at home, not just chanting 16 rounds. You should start reading his books. Maybe you are already, but you should increase. And you should join these sessions, and you should join our group. We have a Hare Krishna ISKM Bhakta group. I'm going to be sharing the link here. Okay, so this is the link to our Telegram group. It's only for Prabhus. Sorry if there's any Matajis here, but this is only for men. So I'm putting the link here in the chat. Okay, I don't know. Can you still hear me? Having trouble connecting. Please check your internet connection. Am I still live? Can you still see me? Somehow I cannot post a comment. You're saying that my screen freezes, right? Okay. Someone is saying my screen is freezing. I also see that they say that my network is not strong enough. Let me try to switch. Okay. Now, okay, I'm back. Somehow I cannot put the message. Okay, yes, I should. So this is the link to our ISKM Bhakta groups on Telegram. You can join that. In this way, you'll get more association. Again, it's for Prabhus only. Okay. Let's continue. Okay, you're saying, why are my questions being removed? I do not see. Okay, this one here, you mean? Prabhuji, please help me. I don't want to lose my faith in Lord Krishna. So if that's your question, Arnav, so please again join that group that I've put the link there. So there you can get some association of devotees, and we can try to guide you. Faith has to be increased, and this has to be increased with proper Shravanam Kirtanam. That is how our faith is going to be increasing. We need to increase our chanting, our reading, in the association of devotees, because faith is the distinction between a neophyte, an intermediate, and an advanced devotee. Okay, so if you join that group and you start to associate with us, we will try our best to try to help you, but you have to be serious. You have to join the reading sessions, you have to join the chanting sessions, you have to join those classes and so on. And in this way, your faith will develop. And you must read Prabhupada books, especially reading Prabhupada books is a must. We cannot make it without reading Srila Prabhupada books. We'll remain on the third class platform. So that is spoken here. So this is Madhya 22:74. Madhya Lila, chapter 22, text 74. So a prakrita, okay. Archayam eva hare pujam yahashthaye hate nathad bhakteshu chanyeshu sabhaktaha prakrita smritaha. A prakrita or materialistic devotee does not purposefully study the Shastra. So if you don't purposefully study Shastra, we will remain on the third class platform and try to understand the actual standard of pure devotional service. So we have to come to that standard, pure devotional service. So anyabila sita sunyam jnana karma navritam. We have to get rid of all those karmic desire and all those jnanic speculation. Consequently, he does not show proper respect to advanced devotees. That is a dangerous platform, because we won't be showing proper respect to advanced devotees, and this is what is happening. Devotees who don't read properly, don't study properly under the guidance of a bona fide devotee, they won't know who is who. They will think, oh, here's a offender, he's an aparadi, and they'll blaspheme him when actually he's a well-wisher. He may, however, follow the regulative principles learned from his spiritual master or from his family who worships the deity. He is to be considered on the material platform, although he is trying to advance in devotional service. Such a person is a Bhakta Praya, neophyte devotee, or Bhakta Abhasa, for he is little enlightened by Vaishnava philosophy. So that's it. So if we don't study Prabhupada books, Shastra, purposefully studying Shastra, will remain on the third class platform. Okay? So it's very important that we stay in the association of devotees. Please join that group that I've put the description behind, the link in the description. Okay, Hare Krishna, Narayana, Nalamala Prabhu. Thank you for being here. I see there's some comment also from Bela Hagyo, Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you for joining the session. I do not know if you're still here, but thank you. Hare Krishna, Pavitra Mataji is there, Hare Paul. Okay, I see that there are some comment concerning the Advaita philosophy. Okay, let me see. Okay, now maybe we can go to Dimitri Prabhu had some other questions that I'd like to share here. Yes, okay. So Dimitri Prabhu is asking, concerning fallen gurus and children abused in ISKCON. One woman accused Srila Prabhupada saying the following: Acharya must be Uttamadhikari, so he is Trikalagnya also. He knows past, present, and future. A bona fide Acharya would never give initiation to such people. Don't try to fool us saying that it was his mercy for these monsters. Where was the mercy for the poor children when Acharya gave spiritual names and posts to such perverts? How to properly understand and answer it, Prabhu. So this lady has got completely lost her faith in Srila Prabhupada due to the incidents that are happening in ISKCON. So that is, first of all, yes, Acharya must be Uttamadhikari, and there's no doubt that Prabhupada was an Uttamadhikari. This lady is having doubts, you see. Trikalagnya. So Trikalagnya, knowing past, present, and future, first of all, the Acharya will know as much as Krishna wants him to know. You see, yes, he knows past, present, and future, but as much as Krishna controls that. And Prabhupada knows what's going to happen to you if you deviate, but he also knows what's going to happen to you if you don't. So one point that Mataji here is not accepting is free will. Free will is very bewildering, because the fault is on us. We can go back to Krishna, we can become demons again. That is always there, because free will is always there. Just like you're all here listening to this class. Nobody is forcing you to listen to this class. You can right away go away. You can go on YouTube and start watching, I don't know, the FIFA or, whatever. So your free will is always there. So Srila Prabhupada tried, he came to save the most fallen people. So yes, he knew that such thing would be taking place if they disobey. But the spiritual master will never stop. If he stops, if he doesn't initiate people on with the fear that they might deviate, then he'll never initiate. Then nobody preaches, because free will always be there. What else can he do? At the time of initiation, he's asking every single disciples to follow the 4 regulative principles and chant 16 rounds. And he's helping them becoming purified and so on. But ultimately, whose fault is it? He knows, Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakur also, her argument, then she cannot accept Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati also as an acharya. She cannot accept Bhaktisiddhanta as a pure devotee, because some of his devotees also had illicit sex. Some of his sannyasis had homosex, with men and women. It's all there. And Prabhupada spoke about it. So what, Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakur is not an acharya? So this is all, she's bewildered, She's losing faith in Krishna. Because how can children in a Krishna consciousness movement go through all this? Krishna is not protecting them. So they're all very bewildered, but Shastra is very clear on this point. There's only karma. It is their karma. Why? They have done so in their past life to some people, But of course, we should not be, it's not nice to speak like that. Those poor children, they went through this, and then you tell them like this, it's your karma. Actually, in ISKCON, some very mean people were telling them that, well, it's your karma, that's all, it's your karma. Yes, but the whole point is to try to help people get out of their karma. You cannot just say it's your karma. Everybody in the material world is already nityabadha. We're all eternally conditioned, because we've committed so many material activities, so many sins, that our written of repetition of birth and death, we cannot see the end. We've done so much sin that it just goes on and on and on and on and on, and then we'll be committing more sin and so on. So to say, oh well, it's your karma, it's basically not wanting to help the person. So all of us, we all have got our karmas, yes. But the acharya doesn't care about that this person has got this karma. He comes to try to help us get free from that karma. So, it's a fact. Just like now, the devotees who have done such horrifying things, like Bhaktivedanta Purna Maharaj, he was beating children, isn't it? But he's a devotee. He started to be as a devotee. Right now, he developed some demonic qualities. He became practically like a demon. Okay, so what will be the punishment for him? He will definitely be taking birth and being near the Hare Krishna movement, is it not? Now, what's going to happen to him? Yeah. I was, my father sometimes used to hit me very, very strongly when I was a child. First of all, Prabhupada said you should never hit a child. Okay. So I got sometimes hit in ways that a father should never hurt his child. So I understand it's because I beat my child in my past life. I hurt my son or my daughter in my past life. I was beating a child, definitely. Therefore, I need to suffer it in this life. So it's my karma. I was violent to my children before, so I have to experience what it is. Tit for tat. Karma means what you do, it comes around, So we cannot blame Prabhupada for what has happened in ISKCON. Unfortunately, the thing is that this movement has got the potency to take someone away from their karma. So therefore, those children didn't have to go through their karma. They could have been saved from that. And that is what is sad, is that those so-called leaders didn't act as an instrument in the hands of Prabhupada to remove those poor children from their karma. But if you want to know why, the exact cause, why it happened, well, they let it happen. That's the first thing. the fault is on their hands. All the GBC, all the sannyasis that knew that this was going on, the blood is on their hands. But the remote cause also is that they had, we all suffer what we have done. Here, this is you see, this is 42958. The results of whatever a living entity does in this life are enjoyed in the next life. So what we do, enjoyed or suffered, right? Anyway, there's many verses on karma. So, but this is sad. We should not speak of this like this to the children. Oh, well, it's their karma and so on. Prabhupada is trying to bring all of us out of our karmic reactions. And because we're not accepting, fully surrendering to him, then we still have to be suffering some of the results. So it's very, and even when Prabhupada was physically here, actually, there was some abuse to the children. Some of the children were made to walk like soldiers, and chanting japa. And there was even some beating of the children happening. And Prabhupada said, what is all this? Where did I instruct this? This marching of the children and chanting japa, these things are all nonsense. He said, you should stop it immediately. But he said, but now I'm so far, what can I do? If you do not listen, what can I do? So free will is a very scary thing, if you ask me. It's very scary because how powerful the Acharya is, how powerful Krishna is, how attractive he is, I can say, no, I don't want to serve you, Krishna. I want to go away. So in my opinion, better give up that free will business. We've been accustomed to be rebellious to the Lord for so long, but the result has not been very nice, is it? So yeah, it's a scary thing, free will. We should we have to learn how to stop using it, or in the sense stop trying to be separate from Krishna. So anyway, this lady, all this has affected her so much. She has lost faith now, and she's not seeing things through Shastra. She's seeing things from a mundane point of view, sentiments only. Blaming Srila Prabhupada. This is the disease. Blaming Krishna for our suffering that is happening here. There's so much suffering happening in the world. Is it that Krishna wants this? This is all talks of people whose faith has shaken. That is the effect. You start to blame the Lord for everything after that. Blaming Prabhupada is not different than blaming Krishna. Okay. So we had another question by Dimitri Prabhu. So Dimitri Prabhu is asking, Krishna is the origin of everything, yet he plays a role of the young brother, whereas Balaram is the eldest. What is the meaning behind this? So, yes, everything that the Lord does is simply for his own pleasure. Everything is an arrangement to increase anandam buddhi vardhanam, to increase the transcendental pleasure. That's all. So there is pleasure. We learn from the acharyas. Srila Prabhupada often says that Krishna prefers actually to be inferior to his devotees. So he likes to be chastised by Yashodamai. He likes to be chastised by his devotees. He likes to be treated as an inferior instead of a superior. So that was the mood at the time. Balaram, wanted to enjoy the taking care of Krishna as a brother, older brother. Krishna wanted to enjoy. It is said, that when they appeared as Lord Ramachandra and Lakshman, Lakshman was, I do not know where that is being said, but Lakshman said, in next time we come, I'll be the eldest. So it is their personality. They have their own likings also, and they're very hard to understand. But it's just like us. Sometimes, like children, they will play. Okay, now I'm the king. Okay, we play, we enjoy this, and then next time, okay, now you're the king. So they are exchanging these things. Yashoda Mai is the mother, but Krishna is the origin of Yashoda Mai. So all of this would be revealed in due course of time more and more. But it's simply for their pleasure, yeah. So Balaram maybe wanted to enjoy more of the parental, because it is said in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu that Balaram is enjoying a mixture of parental love and friendship with Krishna. So this is the mixture of his rasa with the Lord, Lakshman, there would be more love and veneration, Lakshman never looked at Mother Sita's face. He was always looking at her lotus feet. So everything is meant for their enjoyment, and they want to enjoy whatever way they want to enjoy. No one is to be consulted for what they want to do. Okay, so Dimitri Prabhu has shared something here. Because Krishna knows everyone's future does not remove our free will. Someone may commit a theft, and if I know that, then I know that he will be captured and punished. And if I know that, then I know that he will be captured and punished. Yeah. Yes, so exactly what probably, that is knowing his future, but know that future does not mean that he had no choice not to commit the criminal act. There are two destinies for everyone. Yeah, so there are things that are going to be happening if you go away from Krishna, and there are things that are going to be happening if you go to Krishna. So yes, Prabhupada knows that such things might be happening in the movement, but that is if we do not surrender to him. So that he will never touch, So to think that Prabhupada knows exactly that devotee would be committing this or, whatever, that is wrong, because that is saying that, he has no more free will later on. Even before the battlefield of Kurukshetra, all the way until, the very minute it began, everybody could choose their side. And even, Maharaj Yudhishthir, he stood in front of the Kaurava army, and then he spoke. He said, does anybody want to join us? It's going to start. I give you one chance. Anyone who wants to come. And I believe Duryodhana's younger brother from his, from another queen already, or I'm not so, maybe someone can write in the comment. So he joined, he joined Yudhishthira. So the free will was there. But then after that, Krishna, when he spoke Bhagavad-gītā, he said, everybody, is going to die here. So that you cannot avoid. But on which side are you going to die? That is your free will. You're going to die, but which side are you going to die? So Krishna did not take away that. He tried his best with Karna. It's not that the Mahabharata had to happen exactly the way that it happened. After all, he did go to Karna, and he told him, you are the eldest Pandava. Kunti Devi is your mother. If you come to the Pandava side, you will be king of the entire world. And in due course of time, Draupadi is going to be approaching you as a husband. So Krishna tried everything. And after that, yes, Karna said, no, I cannot leave Duryodhana, and so on. So free will is very, very hard to understand, but it is there. So why did we leave Krishna in the first place? Who knows? Why don't we fully surrender now? At one point it boils down to free will. Yes, we all have different natures. We all have different stocks of pious credit or impious credit, and it makes it harder for some to surrender because they're sinful. But still, free will is never gone, even for demons. Even demons have got free will. It's not that they're forced to act in their demonic nature. They can if they want, It's very deeply buried, but it's there. So, and the mercy of the pure devotee also. All this is achintya. It's inconceivable, That's why it's said causeless mercy. The Lord's causeless mercy. There's no cause. How can something have no cause? Did Putana get liberated because she did something in her past life? Is it because of this? Or is it really just causeless? So these activities of the Lord, how he delivers the conditioned souls, it's all very much outside our grasping potency of our intellect. But what we know, we should keep things clear. He sends the pure devotee.
And if you follow his instructions, you're going back to him. If you don't, you're going down. And you go down like a stone boat, in a big, very disgusting style, because you're committing offenses. These people are acting worse than common karmis. Why? Because by committing the offense to a pure devotee, you become so much more guilty. Because the more you have knowledge, the more you are guilty. Like an animal is killing, people. Killing. So yeah, sometimes people even, but it's not his fault. He has no knowledge to choose. So when you come to the human form of life, you have more knowledge. You're more punishable. And what to speak of when you accept the post of a guru? Then, there's no higher position in the material world than that. And if you do something wrong in that post, then that shakes things up a lot, that puts a lot of weight on your shoulder. The offense is so great. Because when Prabhupada comes and initiates you, it's Krishna tending the hand. Now I let you come back to me. And if you push Krishna's hand away like this, then what is your position? Who do you think you are, to refuse the invitation back to the spiritual world? You're going to be suffering a lot. So, okay, if there's not more questions, maybe if you have any other question, you can type now, I have a question, and we can continue the session further. If not, maybe we can stop it here, as there's not so many questions today. Generally, we do 2-hour sessions, but we're already 1.5 hours in, I think. And the attendance today is also a little. But attendance, little or big, is not the important. Important is having some sincere listeners. So, okay. We haven't dove very deeply into any of these subjects so much, but we hope that we have spoken. We haven't quoted that as much as normally. So sorry if this is what you were waiting for. So I guess we're going to be ending it here. So please try to read Srila Prabhupada books and try to join that group again. I'm putting the link again one more time here. If you are a devotee, a Prabhu, you can join this group. We've got more than 70 or even 80 members now. So please join and try to get some association there. Attend the live lectures, attend the reading sessions, and so on. And you can become enthusiastic. There's no doubt about it, because we have, the core members of our ISKM Bhaktas. There's maybe, some 7, 8, 9 of them, maybe a bit more, like 10 more. They're very active and they're associating with one another. Dimitri Prabhu is here. He's one of them. Then there's also Bhakta Subramanian, who's here now. I do not know if any of the others are here. But they are very enthusiastic, and they're Sami Prabhu is there. Yeah. So they always associate with one another. They share their offering to the Lord. They share their realizations. Sometimes when they go to pilgrimages, they take pictures and they share it. And in this way, they keep association, even though they are thousands of miles apart. So that is very good. I wish I had that in my beginning in Krishna consciousness. Such a very enthusiastic group. They're sharing so many experiences, and they help one another. So that's a very active group. The ISKM Bhakta group that I've shared now is kind of the more wide group, where we let everybody come in, and then we see who is very, very serious. And when you become very, very serious, you can come into what we call Hare Krishna League group. And this for those who are surrendered, who really want to be serving under ISKM guidance. So if you make it there, you'll get even better association. So, all right. So thank you very much. We hope that you have learned something. I always enjoy speaking. I learn always with you also. So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindubhyaya vacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo. Anantakoti Vaishnavanya ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Go Premanande. Hare Hare. Hare Krishna.